This is John for johngysbeat.com. I'm back on the beat. I'm talking to one of my favorite guys, one of my favorite authors, one of my favorite wrestling historians and fiction writers, John Cosper. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, John. How are you doing?
I am good, man. We're talking fiction, talking wrestling with you. I'm doing great, man. So let's see, which should we start first? How about we start with your latest book?
Shops at Dead Park. Yep.
Okay, so your first book was Dead Park Plaza.
hmm
I loved it, absolutely loved it. Interviewed you about it, talked to you about it, and said, I really hope that a sequel of some sort comes out. And hence, boom, this came
hmm
out to my surprise, and I love it. It's a little bit different than the first one. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. So the whole kind of conceit about Dead Park at this point is it is basically a community, a subdivision, just a little area in a town. I haven't even ever specified where it's at, state-wise or whatever, although I've got a pretty good idea. But essentially, Dead Park is the real name of it is Lead Park. And it was a munitions plant going all the way back to World War II. It was a military installation all the way up until probably the late 70s, early 80s, and then it was closed down. It was sections of it were parceled off, and part of it was turned into a subdivision. Part of it was turned into the shopping center. Part of it was turned into an office plaza. And then the first book was basically just exploring the stories of that office plaza, the weird, strange goings on. And again, that book just kind of came out of me driving one day and realizing I had three half baked stories that I'd never really been able to do anything with that all took place in an office building. 20 something years of working in an office building will do that to the creative mind, right? So, but the Shops at Dead Park was just kind of a way to kind of expand on that universe and expand on that world. And what better way to do that than to go next door and to go to the actual shopping center that's part of the whole development and kind of explore some of the weirdness that goes on at the mall.
So the second book, was that planned already? Like when you were writing the first book, did you know that, that, I mean, it's similar, but again, it went a little bit different. Did you have that in mind when you were writing the first book?
Not initially, no. I think as I was finishing it up, the ideas started kind of coming together. I had some thoughts and a couple of different stories just kind of started piecing together. And just a couple months ago, I had kind of a lull in the action with the wrestling books, and it was just the right time. Sat down and started cranking out stories for the second one.
I asked you last time, so I'll ask you again. Will there be more?
I'm planning on at least one more. Yeah. I definitely want to make this one at least a trilogy. Exactly where and how the direction of that's going to go, I'm still not sure of. There's a possibility even of a fourth book, just kind of a side story, tied in with the whole Dead Park universe. But at least one more will be coming probably sometime next year.
I just think there's so much potential. And I didn't even think of going in the direction that you did with the shops. I thought there was so much potential in the office building because, as you know, any office building, businesses come and go,
Mhm.
employees come and go. So there's so many possibilities. And now you've even taken it to another end. So that, to me, that just opens up plenty more possibilities. And a short way of, or a long way of saying short, I really hope there's more books because I really love this. I love the humor that you put in there, not too much, but just enough, a little quirky
Mhm.
spins on stuff. I think it's fantastic.
Thank you, thank you. It's just a fun, it's a way to blow off steam. I spend a lot of time, digging through newspapers and going through interviews and stuff like that, and working on telling the lives of pro wrestlers and trying to be accurate and stuff. And it's just fun to step back, to go back to kind of my, I mean, my initial roots are, really in sketch writing and theater and things like that. And I've done film and actually done some short horror films back in the day. And to be able to just step back and just this is my playground and my little world to play around in, and whatever I want to do with it, I can do with it. And that's it's just a ton of fun to play with this whole little world I've created.
So like now, do you jot down notes like as you're driving or whatever, during the day or weekends, whatever? Do you have little thoughts about potentially future, short stories about it and then jot it down or like
There
how
there
does
are
that
definitely
work for
some
you?
things written down. A lot of what I've got written down note wise is kind of the whole backstory of the place, why it is the way it is, some of the things that went on when it was a military installation, and how some of the things at the office building tie into some of the things you find out about the mall, and some of the inhabitants that live around it and show up at the mall in particular. There's a reason why there's still a Radio Shack there. There's a reason why there's still an arcade and, stores that shouldn't exist in 2022. At this shopping mall that's been around for 30 years, and everything does. I know how that connects. I know what the backstory is, and it's just a matter of finding the way to tell that story in the next book or two.
And now you hinted that you might have an idea where it takes place. Is that something that you're willing to share yet? Is that something that you'll ever share?
I'm not for sure. I mean, obviously there's a subdivision next door that could certainly be a location, but I'm not tied to doing that. I mean, if it ends up being Dead Park Estates as the third book, it ends up being that. It ends up being Dead Park Origins or being something else. I mean, it's just wherever when the time comes and my brain kicks in and goes, okay, it's time to go back to Dead Park. We'll see where it goes.
Okay, so let's segue into a little wrestling then. As long as we're talking strange and humorous, you were at Girl Fight Wrestling with our,
yes, it was.
mutual friend Pondo. Love Pondo.
Yep.
Send my best to him. Tell us about that.
Well, the best thing about last week, two best things I'll say is finally got a chance to meet Princess Victoria in person, got to spend time with her. She came in last Monday night. We took her to dinner with Billy Starks, with Charlie McKenzie, who's she's referee at OVW now and also works at Girl Fight. Pondo was at dinner. Just watching her and Pondo interact and get to know each other and tell stories and they say, hey, Billy, tell Vicky how long you've been wrestling. 4 years. Tell her how old you are. I'm 17. And Vicky was going, I hate you. And then the next day we got to have lunch with Charlie Cruel. Billy came and joined us along with Sawyer Wreck, who came up from Florida with the show, but just getting to spend time with her. And I mean, we've gotten to know each other over the phone and through FaceTime, but being with real people is way better than even in this particular format. I mean, being around real people is great, and having that friendship and that connection with somebody who's truly a legend and who's I'm very happy to have been able to help tell her story. She's a great friend. She's really funny. She's got incredible stories. And let fly with a lot of great ones last week. I think the most enjoyable was dinner after the show on Tuesday night with her sitting next to Mickey Knuckles, and those two are quite a pair. So, but I'll tell you, just through her eyes, I mean, there's two types of veterans from that era. There are the ones that roll their eyes at everything they see in the ring, and then there are the ones that love it and still enjoy it, and they want to build and they want to share their knowledge with the next generation. Tracy Smothers was that way. Madman Pondo is absolutely that way, and Vicky's that way. Every match she absolutely loved. She praised the girls. Just they were all unique characters. Even with there being two Russians on the show, Annika and Masha Slamovic, two very different Russian characters. Annika's doing the character more like Alison Brie from Glow, where she's got the fake Russian accent, and they had her at maybe all of 5 foot wrestling against Sawyer Wreck, who's got to be, if she's got to be over 6 foot.
Wow.
And the girl, I'll tell you, Sawyer Wreck is someone you're going to see. She takes the ring like a champion. I mean, she looks like a superstar. I mean, everything about this girl, and just a really, really nice person too. But she and Annika had an absolutely hilarious comedy match. Again, Annika's completely outsized, Sawyer towering over her, and Annika grabbing onto her ankles for dear life, trying to keep her from getting kicked again. We got an absolute slugfest with Mickey Knuckles and Masha Slamovic, and again, just a different Russian character. With Masha. Masha's actually, I guess, her parents or she herself is actually Russian. I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, she's screaming and yelling at Mickey in Russian through the whole match, which gives you a whole different dimension. It could go toe to toe with Mickey. Mickey actually did take down my banner, my sales banner over there, which miraculously survived. Took a bump during the match when Mickey tried to whip Masha into Vicky's foot over at the gimmick table, and Mickey ended up eating the foot from Vicky, and then also going through the banner.
Oh, no.
but Vicky, she's just exchanged Facebook with everybody, made sure they all had her contact info. Just about every single one of them asked, can you watch my match? Can you critique my match? And she gave them critique. It was all just like Tracy, it was positive reinforcement. Hey, here's what you can do a little bit better. Here's what I liked. She's looking at the gimmick table. She's going, oh my goodness, Charlie selling koozies. I love, just loving the ideas and how creative these girls were and how hard they were working to really put themselves out there. She did have a lot of praise for Madman Pondo as well. Just some things she saw, and a couple stories that I shared with her as well. Just truly believes in him as somebody he's there for the girls. I've been around him long enough to know who he is and the kind of person he is. I don't know if I told this story or not, but this is one that I told Vicky last week. A couple years ago, Big Mama came in for a show from Cincinnati. I just absolutely adore her, love watching her. She comes into the ring to have a match with Charlie Cruel. Charlie hits her in the face with powder and pins her, just instantly done, over 5 seconds. And I'm like, well, I feel a little bit cheated here. I asked Pondo the next day, what was up with that. Mama had contacted him the night before the show and said, I can't work the show, I'm pregnant.
Oh my.
Pondo said, come down here, get your payday. Wow. And so that was all about protecting her, getting her out of the ring, and getting her a couple of bucks. So, wow. I mean, that's just the kind of guy who's running this promotion here.
It doesn't surprise me with Pondo.
Yeah. And honestly, I think Vicky may very well be back as well. She's talking, they got another show June 14th in Jeffersonville. She's talking about coming back up. Just love the girls and love the atmosphere. This was the first girl fight too that was not only all women wrestling, all women referees. They had 3 different referees. They had a female ring announcer and an all-female announce team, including my buddy Tamaya Greenlee. First time I've ever gotten to meet her in person too. You may have met her this week. She was actually working with Mickey James over the weekend at Squared Circle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Tamaya, I'll tell you, Tamaya is a fantastic writer. Somebody I need to hook you up with. She's a great writer. She's writing for Slam. She's writing for a couple of other wrestling sites. Has kind of a different approach to looking at wrestling and analyzing it, looking at social aspects as well as more of scholar and elbow is her handle on her website. Just somebody I think the world of as a writer and a fellow wrestling fan. She's certainly making her inroads as an announcer, which I'm really excited for and everything too. But first time we got a chance to meet and hang out together, which was really great. So again, all in all, Girl Fight was an outstanding show as always. I've never been disappointed in a Girl Fight show. We got to see a little bit of that heel Billy Starks in the main event too. She was working with Rachel Armstrong. The crowd was getting behind Rachel and cheering for Rachel, and we got Billy in there going, let's go Rachel, come on Rachel. Just a different side of Billy. So which you can tell she's definitely enjoying that as well too. But Ella, there's another one that I finally got to see again. Of course, Ella took some time off, not only for COVID, but she also had a baby just like Big Mama did. And my goodness, Ella's such a fun character. She's got that piercing scream. She is still unpinned at Girl Fight. And I know this because a couple years ago I was toying with doing a book kind of telling the Girl Fight story that kind of fell by the wayside. But I had gone through every Girl Fight show and I had, basically just put everybody's win-loss records and was determining their win percentages and everything. Ella's never been pinned. She has been in 2 tag matches, one where she walked out on her partner and the other one where her partner got pinned. Where technically she has a loss, but she herself has not been pinned. She's been protected for a long time at Girl Fight, and I gotta think that there's an Ella Billy rivalry coming down the road too, which will be a whole lot of fun to watch.
Who's the champ now at Girl Fight?
Billy Starks is the champion still.
So she defended her title and she kept her title.
She did. She defended against Rachel Armstrong, and Rachel looked really good. Yeah, Rachel's actually fairly new to the business, and she got put in that spotlight after Kimberly had pulled out of the show. Kind of last minute, but crowd got behind Rachel, and Vicky was certainly leading the cheer for Rachel as well over in the sidelines and stuff. But she did a great job, and we all know Billy's a star. It's not a question of if, it's a question of where she's going to sign. And I would dare say Sawyer Wreck is, if she doesn't sign before Billy, she'll be right after her. Everything about this girl, she just looks like a star. The way she carries herself, the way she moves in the ring. I think she's just got everything that's going to catch. If it's not Vince's eye, it'll be Tony's eye, or it'll be Impact's eye, or somebody. But this is a girl that belongs on TV. She's an outstanding talent and a really great person.
Well, I finally got to see Billy wrestle in person. She wrestled up at in Northbrook, just north of me.
Okay.
Became the first ever second wrestling champion.
Yeah.
Not women's champ, but straight out champ. And I know you've sung her praises for as long as I've known you, but man, I was really impressed with her. She
really is. Yeah, and
wrestled 2 guys that night.
She's very professional. I mean, even at 17 years old, she's very professional. This is all she's ever wanted to do since she was 9 years old. I actually got to interview her for Bluegrass Brawlers and get to know a little bit more of her backstory, how and when she got into it. And I mean, this is what she was made to do, and you can see it in everything that she does, the way she connects with the fans, and I mean, just anything she wants to try in the ring, she'll figure it out. She'll do it. And yeah, it's funny because I heard her last week describing herself. She's like, I'm not a natural athlete. I have to work for everything I do. But that girl works. Okay. Number one, she's still straight A's. She is still, and it's not a requirement. I did talk to her mom about that. She's got to stay on the honor roll. A's and B's. She's straight A's. She's been straight A's for 2.5 years of high school now. She's going to finish out straight A's. I have no doubt about that. I remember her freshman year, her telling me she was signing up for theater and Japanese. So I mean, she's planning her future, and certainly she's got her eyes, I think, on headed to Stardom or one of those promotions over in Japan at some point, just to learn from them. And it's really cool. It was second. Is that where she got the video message from Ruby Riot, or not Ruby Riot now? Yeah, it is Ruby Riot now. Ruby Soho.
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
I did see over the weekend where Ruby Soho has challenged her to a match. She's going to be wrestling her on an indie show here sometime soon. So
wow, that would be one I'd love to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and she did note too, that she saw Ruby wrestle. Actually, the first time I ever saw her wrestle, she was still Heidi Lovelace. She had just left OVW, and she and Jordan Grace worked for IWA Mid-South, Falls Count Anywhere in Clark County, Indiana, at the Colgate Gym in Clarksville, Indiana. I think I wrote about it. I'm pretty sure I wrote about the first Bluegrass Brawlers, and I touched on the second one too. Those girls fought all over that building. They fought out into the parking lot, and I mean, it was something. Jordan was 17 at the time too, I think.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. We've watched. I was sitting here. I'm like, I'm watching these people, watching them grow up, and watching them, move on, and watching them get their opportunities. It's really neat. Yeah, as long as I've been writing about it and following it closely, and yet I'll back up and I'll say it still blows my mind that it wasn't until last week Lufisto got on AEW TV, that nobody will. I mean, come on, there's no, she is the best woman of her generation who's never been signed. She's one of the best women, period, of her generation. She is a trailblazer. She is a Hall of Famer. She has, broken ground for women's wrestling, for intergender wrestling, for deathmatch wrestling. Why Lufisto hasn't had her payday is beyond me. And Aaron Williams out of Ohio too. Why he hasn't been signed by somebody. You never get a bad match out of Aaron. Aaron is another one of those just amazing people, really, really good person. And just a great worker, and unsigned don't care. That's his and Gary J's motto. And it's like, you guys may not care, but us fans do. Certainly I would, those are the two that I've been following since 2014, when I interviewed both of them for my second book and began following their careers. And I'm like, I still don't get it why these two are not somewhere, getting their due.
Well, and going back to Billy, we interviewed my podcast partner and we interviewed her a couple of weeks back, maybe a month back. So impressed with her maturity, and
Mm-hmm.
We're interviewing her and I'm talking to her going, this young lady's in high school,
Yeah.
She's still in high school, and she's had so much experience, and she's so mature, and she's so polite and friendly and talented. I mean, I see everything after seeing her wrestle, after talking to her like that. I see everything that you've said about her is completely 100% accurate. She's going to be signed very soon, and good luck to her, because she's got a bright future.
Yeah, she turns 18 in December of this year. So, in indie fans, we got another 8 months to enjoy her, and then she's going to belong to the world. So it's exciting. It's going to be really exciting to see where she goes. And
it's going to be fun. Yeah. It's going to be fun following her. So let me ask you about the big boys, the big companies. WWE had the Royal Rumble. I know it was a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on? They brought back a lot of the older stars, like Molly Holly. They brought back I forgot her name, Ivory, and a few others. What are your thoughts on those women in the Royal Rumble, as opposed to maybe bringing younger women, indie stars or NXT stars, into the Rumble?
Yeah, I will say I enjoyed the Rumble for what it was. Myself, probably the one that I saw a lot of griping about online is the one I was most excited to see, and that was Sarah Logan. Good old crazy Mary Dobson, who I saw just last week is going to be doing some shows with Control Your Narrative, and I think that's I know there's a lot of people mocking and scoffing what they're trying to do with that, but that's a good fit for her. I think that's a really good fit for her. I enjoyed it. I'm a big Molly Holly fan. I love anytime I get to see Molly. I didn't like that. I mean, I think all of them, but two of them got dumped out. Like they went straight into the ring and got dumped straight out. That was Sarah. That was Melina. That was the major Ivory. That was the majority of them. And it's like, if you're gonna bring them back in, I mean, you can't have all of them going last and everything like that. I mean, and certainly Lita had her good run and everything like that in it. But I mean, it's their company. They're booking it the way they want, and they do what they do to their benefit or detriment. Long term, I think it's to your detriment, because over here at AEW, they are building up female stars. They are creating new female stars. And they've made Britt Baker. Thunder Rosa is now a household name. I think they have had the two of them have had some of the best matches of anybody over the last year. But they're really building, new women's stars as well as the new men's stars that they're creating over there. Wheeler Yuta just had his big coming out moment with Jon Moxley a couple weeks ago. So I don't know. I mean, I kind of see things going this way, where WWE is going to be doing their thing, and they're going to do their thing, and AEW is going to do their thing. I think this rivalry is going to go on for a while. We're going to see some back and forth. We're going to see good things out of both. WrestleMania, I thought, was a lot of fun this year. Not every match. First two matches, I was like, boy, it's going to be a long night. But then that Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair match is the best WrestleMania match I've seen in years.
Yeah,
so good. Steve Austin and Kevin Owens it was Steve Austin wrestling for 20 minutes, which we never thought we'd get to see again. That was a treat. And look, my apologies to all of my good friends who like the old school, who don't like the dumb, silly stuff. I'm a Jackass fan, and I love that Johnny Knoxville match. That was
I'll be one of the guys that you just apologized to. That was not one of my favorite
I love
matches.
That. And it's funny because my nephews came over to watch the first night, and they came over a couple days later, and we replayed and we watched that one. And my wife was in the room. My wife's not a fan, but she enjoyed that one even. So, but
It's got its audience.
Yeah, it's got its audience, and I mean, but there's it entertained me. I enjoyed WrestleMania this year. All in all, I'm still enjoying AEW more than WWE. It's not that I'm certainly not a hater of the one versus the other, but it's like, look, this is what I want to watch over here, and it's like I want to watch. I want to watch Daniel Bryan. I want to watch Moxley. I want to watch CM Punk. I want to watch Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. I want to watch MJF. I want to watch MJF all the time. I love everything that guy does. I want to see more Britt Baker. I want to see more Thunder Rosa. I don't care to watch Roman Reigns, and it's not, it just doesn't click for me, and the whole building up. Yeah, it's what they did with the New Day too, where the New Day is the greatest tag team of all time, and now Roman is the greatest. They're trying to make him the greatest wrestler of all time. Nobody but the diehards are going to buy that, and
right.
Whatever, sell what you want to do, sell your t-shirts or whatever, but come talk to us in 20 years, if we'll see what Roman's done. And if he, truly stands up there with Flair and with Hogan and San Martino and Austin and, go back to Strangler Lewis, it's funny. We had a conversation on Facebook last week. We were discussing Mildred Burke, and it was like, it's not a question of if, but how quickly Mildred would twist just about every female wrestler in the world right now into knots. And that includes Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, because, Mildred was cut from a different cloth, and she learned how to shoot before she learned how to work. So, I mean, I thought WrestleMania was a lot of fun, week in and week out. I've been going to Planet Fitness 3 times a week, and when I can, since August, and it's always Wednesday night about 9:00, so I can see the second hour of AEW, and I go Friday night at 10:00, so I can watch Rampage. It's which is good. It's got me going to the gym and everything, and it's got me trying to get myself healthier. But that's the wrestling I want to watch. Those are performers I want to watch. And second to that, I'm going to say still Impact. I'm still an Impact Plus subscriber, and I love Jordan Grace. I love watching her, and just yeah, Impact's a little different. They know they're the odd man out right now, and they don't care, and they still throw surprises at you. I love seeing the stuff that's happening on the indies. I love everything Matt Cardona is doing right now, just kind of creating and forging his own path. It's just a it's a fun time to be a fan, and it's not. It hasn't turned a curve. It's been a fun time to be a fan for quite a while, and I think it just keeps getting more enjoyable. Even with Cody defecting, I mean, I think it's incumbent on WWE to make sure they push Cody right, because if Cody's got Stardust makeup on in 2 months, you think anybody's going to jump?
Right.
I don't care how much money you throw at MJF. I don't know that he's going to jump. So, and certainly, I mean, I think guys like Darby and guys like Jungle Boy, I mean, I think they see what happens to a smaller guy when you jump over to WWE. If they see what they did with Adam Cole, and Adam Cole, I think is one of the best men's wrestlers, around right now. So, but no, I think it's a fun time to be a fan, and I was glad because I was like, okay, I'm going to watch WrestleMania. I don't know any of the storylines coming in. I don't know anything what's going on. I did enjoy that. I read afterwards that Logan Paul had it written into his contract that he was supposed to turn babyface afterwards, and that's why the Miz laid him out. And I haven't watched any WWE programming since then, but I kind of get the idea that it kind of backfired on them, and Miz turned himself babyface by laying him out by that crowd reaction.
Yeah.
So, I was glad to see that because I don't think much of him and some of the things he's done with his whatever, but. No, I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the Jackass match. AJ and Edge was great. Cody and Seth Rollins was great. And again, I think Becky and Bianca turned in probably the best women's match we've ever seen on a WrestleMania. It was just that good. It was about 2/3 of the way through it. I had this out of body. It's like I'm watching one of the best WrestleMania matches ever. This is up there in that upper echelon, and this is one that I'll watch over and over. It was just that good.
Well, I was when I was just looking at the card, I was kind of mediocre on the women's tag match. I got to say, I really enjoyed that too. I thought that all the teams just laid it out there, and I love the tag match.
I don't remember what I was doing at that point. I don't think I watched. I need to go back and watch that one a little more closely. So,
and I was surprised Rousey lost to Flair. I know it was kind of a mixed up ending, but I was hyped by that.
That's another thing too. I mean, I certainly see the talent and the charisma of Charlotte Flair, but again, she doesn't do anything for me any more than Roman does. I'd rather watch Becky, I'd rather watch Bayley, I'd rather watch Sasha, I'd rather watch Natalia. I mean, there's so many others. I'd rather watch Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, or any of the other ladies over at AEW. So I'm one of those. I got my fingers crossed. I hope Tessa Blanchard, makes amends with enough people and comes back, because I felt like she was approaching one of the absolute best in the world at the time when she was having a run, up until everything happened and there was all that fallout. But that's who I want to watch. Those are the people that I want to watch, and Charlotte just doesn't interest me, and it's nothing, it's not an anti-AEW thing, but it's just like, she's never caught my fancy, and Roman hasn't either. So, but to each their own.
There's room for all of them.
Absolutely, there is.
The better they all do, the better they will all do, because the competition breeds pushing your talent and storylines to be even better. And we all know WWE kind of goes up and down, but I love the fact that Cody jumped back. I liked a little bit of the war between the two. I think it helps both.
It certainly does help both. And I think AEW has certainly done the better job of thus far. But I mean, I don't know. I think they took another step back with WWE, where they're changing everybody's names now and wanting to go back to the copyrighted names. I don't care for that. But
that era's gone.
Yeah. So, but it'll come and go. So I think down the road it will get real interesting is down the road, if and when Triple H ever fully takes over, and we have Triple H and leading one, and then Tony Khan leading the other. I think you're going to see some really, really outstanding production going on both sides.
It'll be fun. Well,
That's really
let's turn back to you before we wrap up. Any
sure.
projects in the works that you can talk about?
I'm crossing my fingers and checking my email box every 5 minutes for the book cover for the new Bluegrass Brawlers. I've been waiting on it for a while to get it out there. It is ready to go. I say that I keep having to go back in and tweak and change things. I had to go back in and write Sarah Logan's Night Wrestling for Control Your Narrative last week. But that one's ready to go as soon as I get the book cover on it. I'm probably halfway through on the Mars Bennett biography, the lady wrestler from the 1950s, circus performer, died tragically in a car accident in 57. Having a ton of fun doing research on that. And I'm going to be working with Gregory Iron very, very soon on his book. Very inspiring story. I think we're probably going to be taking an angle where it'll be more for a a younger audience as well as for wrestling fans with all the motivational speaking he's doing these days. So really cool guy. Really looking forward to working with.
Awesome, man. I look forward to all of those. My John Cosper section on my bookshelf is growing.
Good.
And I've not been disappointed yet. I've been pleasantly surprised by every book. It's always funny when you make a sequel, boom. You always hope that there's always a chance that it gets repetitive or it gets this. Absolutely not. This book I absolutely loved. I love the first book. Plug.
So that was the whole idea, was to do something, and that was the other thing with taking it to the mall instead of the office is there's no danger of repeating because you're dropping everything and in a mall you've got even more places to go and explore than you have in an office building. Office building you have offices, cubicles, desks, and whatever and stuff like that. Mall, you've got we got the video arcade, we got the video rental store. Yes, there's a video rental store in 2022, and you rent laser discs there among other things. That plays into it as well. There's the frozen yogurt stand, there's the bookstore, there's the Chinese buffet, and I'll tell you the one, and we're not going to give it away, but the one payoff I really enjoyed was the whole thing that was dropped in the first book about the Hepe scare at the Italian restaurant. That was a gag that I had in mind as I was finishing up the first book and how and where that fits into everything. So that was I was a big Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan back in the day, and they would, set up a joke and then pay it off, 6 episodes later or 2 seasons later sometimes. And so that was one I really liked.
Well, John, before I let you go, tell everybody where they could find you, your books, and anything else you want to promote, my friend.
Sure. My website, eatsleepwrestle.com. That is where you buy all my books now. I've moved all my fiction stuff over there. I've just got the one bookstore at eatsleepwrestle.com, my wrestling books. I've got plenty of Wahoo McDaniels, Tracy Smothers, Chris Candido, Princess Victoria, Ben Pondo in stock. More books coming in. I'll have Romer's in here in a few weeks. Mike Rogers' books, Excitement in the Air, volumes 1 and 2. And again, my fiction books are there as well. So Dead Park Plaza, Shops at Dead Park, Die Allen Die, and a whole bunch of other titles you can check out. So eatsleepwrestle.com. You can find me on Facebook, John Cosper author, or Eat Sleep Wrestle. You can find me on Twitter at John Cosper, and I believe Instagram is at John Cosper author.
You said it all, my friend, and I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. I always love talking. I love talking wrestling with you. I love talking fiction. I can't wait for the next your next book to come out, whether it's fiction or wrestling books, because I'll be one of the first in line to pick it up. And I would love to talk to you about it once it's out, my friend.
Sounds good. Yeah, always a good time talking to you.
All right, John, you have a good night, and watch some wrestling, and we'll be talking soon.
Will do. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, John.